Tommy, I do it. No police can private car be bejina asina. Police nini see no bisa papa ni seja no ye.
Well, she says a police vehicle and then a saloon car actually pulled up here in front of their shop. And a DNC here. Cars number parking one DNC here.
No police nini bo papa nasu.
She says the policeman stepped out of the car and then slapped one of the occupants of the vehicle. One and obo nasu.
Obo driver nasu.
And a DNC here.
No papa ni kaso ojini sika waka nimno. Of faith to no issue to police nini.
The driver who we are told was slapped by the police officer told the police officer that he wants to take money from his car, but he did not pull out money. He actually went in there and pulled a gun and then subsequently shot the police officer in the head. And
police no I week no boras tonim na moja fini no mu ba no ras tonim na okache ese yen kutu nya say 20 beka na yakutu fridge nechi.
Okay, well, she says that when the police officer was shot in the head, blood started oozing out of his mouth, so he rushed into a shop which is just some meters away from this place, rushed and then entered the shop. What's the police officer and the catcher so munkoto? Well, she says the police officer asked them to go down. I didn't know what catcher so munkoto.
Should not person saving your life.
In an act of bravery, the police officer who had been shot told the 13-year-old girl and another child who were in the shop that they should go down, otherwise they can be hit by a bullet. In that time, no way.
No way. Na mini boy ne fi store nim na e ka small boy we na papa ni sambe ra won no yi small boy ni to abontina o san so shoot to police ni bio.
Well, she's saying that as the police officer rushed to the shop here, she stepped out, but there was a boy who was inside the shop. The occupants of the vehicle, the driver of the private vehicle, went back and then shot the police officer again whilst he was inside the shop. So at that point, in the end, see Uyana.
No, when Papa Nuka na nikanim na mimi beji na asena mi kikem microphone ranti Papa nehu.
That's a 13-year-old girl who witnessed what happened. The police officer stops the vehicle and immediately, we're told, slaps the driver. There's no provocation at this point. Then the driver enters the vehicle, pulls out a gun and fires the police officer in the rib and then in the head. The police officer survives at this point where his rib has been shot. But then the assailant follows him to a nearby shop and again opens fire into his head, killing the officer instantly. Even in his Spain, the police officer tried to save the lives of those in the shop by advising them to lay low. This happened just yesterday in Buduburam, a community near Kaswa in the central region. 2 officers were gunned down in that incident, bringing the number of officers killed in the line of duty to 5 this month alone. The question is, how safe are you as a citizen if even the police that's supposed to protect you is under attack? The police itself has started a hashtag, I stand with GH Police, and the acting IGP has been visiting the area. That's the focus of our conversation today. Before that, let's first take you to Buduburam. Well, you've heard the Buduburam accounts, but Maxwell Agbagba is our man on the beat. Maxwell joins me on the line from the crime scene. Hello, Maxwell. Yes, Maxwell, we just heard the 13-year-old describe to you what she saw, what exactly happened from her perspective. Tell us, what more do other people in this area tell you about what happened yesterday?
It's okay. Only one was able to
Maxwell Agbagba there, we don't seem to have a good line there, an audio there with him. We'll try and get back to him. But 3 persons we understand have been arrested already. Investigators have been tracking their accomplices. There's caution from a security analyst, Colonel Festus Abuaji, who spoke on News Desk today.
Being derelict of its responsibilities to equip the personnel of the security institutions to do their job. We've been talking about this situation in the north, some parts of the north. What we're not being told is that of the military and police deployed, they don't have fuel. Let me also argue that it is not correct that the police had never had equipment. It is just that each time security institutions send their budgets through their respective ministries to Parliament, they are told that you're looking for X million. We cannot give you X million. We're going to give you 8,000. So the police go back and manage with whatever it is that the state has put at their disposal. So the state itself must recognize that without security, our economic development, is going to be seriously challenged. If police work is only about reacting after the fact, we'll always be chasing shadows. The police need to proactively find criminals, find illegal weapons, and recover them, and charge some and send some to prison. So the question of resources may be an issue, but all of us wake up every morning without sufficient resources. So we are able to set our priorities and balance the resources and apportion whatever money, time, energy to certain of these activities that we must conduct on a daily basis. I say it's leadership. I have to keep mentioning leadership. You say it, because there's nobody else to hold accountable for what is happening than the leadership of the police. We can deduce that the police may be tempted to be a bit more aggressive in the way they approach criminal situations or other security situations. There is that temptation. And I would want to suggest that they need to exercise a bit more of restraint and caution. They need to apply the drills and the methods that they have been trained to use in dealing with some of these situations. They need to recognize fundamentally from the context of that narrative that this young girl has, or young woman has given, that criminals are becoming more aggressive, more emboldened, more daring. And therefore, the assumption that any police officer can make at any point in time is that that suspect could be dangerous. And therefore exercise a greater degree of caution in approaching suspects. But let the police go back to professional ways of doing police work. This slapping, manhandling, booting, kicking must stop, because it itself incites certain individuals in society, to also be aggressive or show aggression to the police.
Let's go back to Maxwell Agbagba, who is joining us from the crime scene. Hello, Maxwell.
Yeah, hello, Gipsy.
Yes, Maxwell, let's start with your conversation earlier with this 13-year-old who told you what she saw. What else do other people in this neighborhood tell you?
Well, so far the 13-year-old is the only one who has been able to give us a vivid account of what happened, and she is the only one. She says at the time that the incident happened, it was around 1:00 p.m. A lot of people were not around then. She found herself in that particular shop together with her two siblings, and they witnessed, everything that happened. The rest that we've been speaking to, other people have been speaking to, have just been given account of hearsays. So the 13-year-old girl, her account and what a little boy who was with her also saw is what investigators have been relying on, and have also been interacting with some persons, of interest. But if you come here to Kaswa right now, we're here at a place called Kaswa Fifi. All the people who matter in the Ghana Police Service are here today to commiserate with the first wife of one of the police officers, Lance Corporal Mohammed Mohammed Awal. Here at his residence, at the residence of his wife, we have the acting IGP here. We also have the Interior Minister himself, Ambrose Derry, is here. We have the Member of Parliament for this area, Hawa Kumsin. She's also here. The Municipal Chief Executive for this area is also here. The Inspector General of Police has been speaking, and he has been talking tough about measures that they intend to put in place to nip the situation in the bud. He says that they've realized for some time now Kaswa has posed a security challenge to the country as a whole. So they are putting plans in place. In fact, plans are far advanced to augment the security that they have here. The Interior Minister earlier was at the residence of the wife of Sergeant Michael Jamisi. He was the one who was killed, and then he rushed to the shop and then fell and died in the shop. There are other residents. The Interior Minister announced a directive that henceforth police officers on traffic duties will be armed. In fact, he instructed the Inspector General of Police to ensure that police officers on traffic duties henceforth are armed. He clarified and said that in previous times, personnel of the Motor Transport and Traffic Department of the Ghana Police Service go on traffic duties without arms. Now the directive is that they should be given guns, they should be given bulletproof vests, and they should also be given helmets so that they can defend themselves if they find themselves in a situation that has taken the lives of these two police officers. Then the Interior Minister Ambrose Derry also described the two slain officers as martyrs. He says that their death now has brought some changes to the Ghana Police Service, and they've been urging the public to help arrest one of the suspects who is currently on the run. Earlier we saw some of the suspects who were in the custody of the police. They were taken to their residence, one at Liberia Camp and then another one at the Block Factory. They also came back to the crime scene. Some search were conducted. We've been speaking to our source within the Kaswa Police Divisional Command. He's unable, he says he will not give us details, but he says in later briefing they'll be announcing to the media what they discovered in the homes of the suspects. But as it stands now, one of the suspects is currently on the run, and then the IGP has announced that anyone who will help with information leading to the arrest of this suspect will be given an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis. And they've been visiting the two families. The first family they visited, they gave them an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis. That's Michael Jamisi's family. And the family is actually asking that justice should be served. The PRO, the spokesperson for the family, actually stated that there are situations where, a lot of the times we do not get closure on issues of murder, but he is begging the police administration, he's begging the hierarchy of the police to ensure that they get closure on this matter and also to ensure that justice is served. Let me take you to the residence right now where the Interior Minister has been speaking and other top officials of the Ghana Police Service are currently. Let's have a few of what they have been talking about right now.
And he is in Kaswa. We're still sticking with him. We'll go back to him and get some more sounds from what's happening right there. He is in one of the residences of a residence of one of the police officers who was killed yesterday. If you heard him, he says the IGP is talking about plans, massive changes they intend to make at the Kaswa Police Division, if you like, or in Kaswa to deal with security threats there. Let's go back to Maxwell since he has someone to speak.
Okay, so we have here with us the Municipal Chief Executive here with us. He's here also to commiserate with the family. Sir, you have been around. You've also been going around with the Inspector General of Police. He has been talking a lot about security here in Kaswa especially. In fact, a lot of people have had concerns about, Kaswa. Some people have been speaking to have been attributing the problem to what they describe as the influx of foreigners in Kaswa especially. You are the man on the ground, and I want to believe that you are the head of the security also here. Yeah. Great. What do you make of the IGP's statements that they're going to augment the security here to enable you deal effectively with these unscrupulous people?
Yeah, thank you very much. And That statement is in the right direction. When we inherited this particular seat as MC, you would recall that the situation in Kaswa was so volatile. I mean, you would realize that on a daily basis we are having issues, and it is not because of foreigners alone, but because it's a cosmopolitan kind of municipality where you have not less than 240 people moving into to settle in Kaswa on weekly basis. And so with that kind of mosaic background of cultural differences, societal differences, upbringing, educational backgrounds, you would expect that we would encounter some of these things. And then we'll be working with the IGP, both the one who just went on retirement and then this current one. We've met him. In fact, we've met the Vice President, myself, and the MP, Honorable Hawa Kumsin.
When did you meet the Vice President?
It was sometime last year, and so we had some equipment to help the police. As I speak to you,
the police here in Kaswa.
The police here in Kaswa.
Because it's I want to describe it, for want of a better word, a special case in inverted commas.
Yes.
Okay.
So for the police here in Kaswa, you would remember that currently we dealt with the issue of land gas. Let me tell you something. Per the UN standard, a police officer is supposed to be policing 500 civilians. But here in Kaswa, we have one police officer is to 1,800 civilians. And so we've been talking about, having more officers. We've been talking of having equipment, and we've been beefing up gradually with time. So this call and this declaration is in the right direction for us.
But when you understand the problem, is it really because you do not have a lot of police officers here in Kaswa? Is that part of the problem, or a part of it also has to do with the influx of foreigners, as some of your people are saying?
Yeah, it's multifaceted. The issue has to do with the personnel, inadequate personnel. Secondly, it has to do with the influx of Ghanaians into Kaswa, and then the influx of foreigners.
Okay.
Yes, so because they are coming from mosaic backgrounds, they all have their thoughts, they were brought up differently, and as you might be aware, in an urbanized area like this, when people move from the villages and where sometimes we organize swoops in Kaswa, and then we arrest criminals who have jumped bail, who have broken jail from all over West Africa. Yes, and we arrest them here. So until this current, recent occurrence, it had been cool. And mind you, the strategies that we've put in place as Municipal Security Council, headed by myself and then the police officers, we realized that, okay, the motor traffic units of the police, when they were going on duty, they don't have, weapons. Yeah. And so that is what these criminals took advantage of. And so I'm also happy that the Interior Minister has ordered the acting IGP to ensure that officers that go on traffic duties are fully armed to defend themselves. And so it's according that we just, I'm sorry, and we empathize with the family in this trying moment. So that is why we are here.
In fact, when we were in the vehicle heading to the crime scene with the sirens blaring, you could see all of the residents here gathered on the side of the road watching what was happening. But before that, I spoke to some of them who were telling me that we are very terrified about this situation. If police officers who are supposed to protect life and property are killed in a manner like this, in broad daylight like this, we do not know what will happen to us as civilians. I'm sure you want to assure them at this point.
Yes, they are right.
Assure them of your security.
Yes, they are right to think that way. They have every right to make those statements, and I think it's just normal under the circumstance. But assurance is that it is not as if those criminals were, as it were, laying ambush for the police in that community, or it's not as if those criminals were there who have make the blockade and not allowing any police to carry on their official duty, and that these people tried and they killed them. But this is an incident of somebody passing whom we don't even know where they stay, but they're supposed to be criminals. And these police people gave them a hot chase. And it did happen that the incident happened within that community. It doesn't mean that those criminals are from that community.
So we are told that one of them lives in the Liberia camp.
Yes.
Buduburam.
Yes. As for somebody living there, I'm telling you that if you go there right now, they'll be unable to pinpoint where the person lives actually. But it is a meeting grounds because it used to be a refugee camp, and because of that, it's more or less like a slumber right now. It's like a slum. And because it's quarter, area, you have all these criminals having their ghettos and bases over there. And so for the police to pursue them, and then they, dislodging the problems they have with the police into that particular community and getting the police shot. If you live in that community, you'll be terrified. But assurance is that even though that community is outside the jurisdiction of Ewutu Senya East, where I preside, that place is Gomua East. But the police officers chased the criminals from Kaswa and they entered into that community. And so I'm going to collaborate with my colleague in Gomua East. I've already spoken to him. We are going to have a community deba with the police chiefs to reassure them of their safety.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking to us. So you just heard from the municipal chief executive for the area and telling us about what they are doing also to augment, security here, as mentioned by the Inspector General of Police. Let us try and get inside and also see if we can get some members of the police hierarchy to speak to us and speak also to the issues here.
Maxwell Agbagba there, coming to us from Kaswa, where the IGP is. The Interior Minister is there as well. Interior Minister has made some pronouncement about arming traffic duty police officers. He's also he's also announced that a 10,000 bounty on the head of the suspects. One of the suspects who is on the run. I do have in the studio, by the way, ACP Kwesifori there. He's in charge of police operations here in Accra. ACP, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Madam.
So momentarily we'll be talking about what the things that the police come face to face with in their daily duties. And now that we're hearing these announcements from the IGP and the Interior Minister, we'll interrogate it further to see how it will be of help to them. If you live in Kaswa, I would like to hear from you. Drop us a message on our Facebook platform, facebook.com/JoyNews on TV. You can also send us a WhatsApp on 0505-646330. That's 0505-646330. So this month alone, there's been 5 of such incidents where officers have died in the line of duties. You know about Sergeant Nana Nabin, who died in the northern part of the country. Well, last year I traveled to the Buduburam region, and the Volta region, and on my way I found out it was interesting that some police officers were at roadblocks in places that seemed like nowhere, but they were not really protected. I put together a report. Whilst after the report we'll have that conversation. Take a look.
From the police service show, 48 officers have been killed between 2013 and 2018, 4 so far in January 2018 alone. Beyond the statistics are lives and people with families. Inspector Adolf Muche, Constable Prosper Ashinyo, General Lance Corporal Danso Enimon, and the latest, perhaps most shocking, Inspector Emmanuel Ashilevi, who was killed at the Kwabena police station after 3 officers were taken hostage and 7 prisoners freed. Scenes on my trip recently to the Buduburam and Volta regions served as a rude awakening, though not so surprising. Police personnel at barriers in practically the middle of nowhere and without bulletproof vest, yet no visible sign of arms. In an era of sophisticated crimes, most police stations like Kwabena usually have a handful of personnel seated by a counter with foolscap notebooks, a phenomenon that makes one wonder how safe the police is in the discharge of their duties.
I was in Bosnia. To locate the cells was even difficult for you to locate. The cell was down, and the station is up, so you need to clamp down before you can even get there.
Unlike other public servants, the police can neither embark on industrial actions nor speak freely to the media about their problems, except its leadership, and that rarely happens. I caught up with the Volta Regional Police Commander, DCOP Nana Asamohene.
No, we admit that we don't have the full complement of our logistics. We are not fully protected. There is no 100% proof. We have some, but not enough. We need more. We wish that everybody will have that the protective gear. Everybody going along must have a walkie-talkie. Everybody moving around must have a full complement. Carrying, say, the AK-47 around. A sidearm, everybody must have. But as at now, no, we don't have it. So we cannot say we are 100% protected. But at least within what we have, we are working with it.
The Bosnian trained officer is at least frank about the situation. But many police officers, especially those in junior ranks, suffer in silence in the line of duty. The efficiency of the service is curtailed with the slow criminal justice system, lack of adequate protective logistics, a virtually non-existent identification and address system, crowned with archaic policies like arming senior officers who usually stay in the office as against junior officers who go on operations.
No, that was the policy that the senior police were using it. But now that there's a need for us to give them sidearms, we have some, but not enough. So when they are going on operation, we give it to them, but we return it. Unlike the senior police officers who keep them. But now they said that policy is definitely going to be changing in the face of what we are seeing.
There's more. Senior officers sometimes live in single rooms with their families at police barracks, with half of their belongings on corridors. I have also encountered personnel on duty without places of convenience, and on this trip, I found, following my off-camera engagement with some officers, that the recent 50,000 welfare package announced by the IGP for those who fall in the line of duty was news to some police officers. Commander Hine has a response.
No, it's a package bringing on board. We need to do a lot of welfare meetings. That's where we put these things across. I know most of them, they are always on duty. As of now, to get a lot, we have about 700 within my unit here. To get even half is very difficult. But what they say, we are trying to send a message across to all of them, and they'll get it. They are working, and they're under very trying conditions, but they are working. Because without security, there's nothing at all anybody can do. No doctor can go to hospital. The bank will never operate. The market man cannot go to the market. Filling station cannot operate. Nobody can operate under insecurity. So personally, I wish they would give half of the budget to the police.
The commander shows me around a gymnasium and other facilities he is building to make life comfortable for his men. He is also articulate about the importance of public and individual donations. But experts have raised serious concerns about security agencies' reliance on donations and individual support. Well, the latest from the quarters of the police service is to seek spiritual intervention.
You can have all the debate there is to have, whether or not the police is offering best services, but you need to check who is employing them and whether they've given them the right tools and the right equipment with which to work. Following what happened in Kwabenya, there's a general sense of uncertainty for police persons that I've spoken to so far. They're not sure whether or not the day will end with them alive or dead, like their colleague. The police is supposed to protect you, but who protects the police? Unfortunately for them, they can hardly speak for themselves, especially in the media. Kiptiandopia, JoyNews, Ho, Volta region. Well, that story was done last year, but you can admit that the script fits what is happening even today. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. ACP is here still with me. I will show you some statistics as we go along of how many police officers have died in the line of duty and what are we doing about it. ACP, it's good that we have you this afternoon, and thank you very much for your patience. But we've had some very massive pronouncements made by your bosses, the Interior Minister and the IGP today. The Interior Minister has just announced that from now, police officers who go on traffic duties are going to be armed, and they're going to be protected as well with bulletproof vests. Did you know about this earlier, or was this an announcement, that came to you just as it did to us?
Well, you just, telling me.
Okay.
And earlier on also I heard that some directives have been given, to make sure that the policemen are well protected.
If you could speak up a little bit.
Having all the right working facilities, to enable them protect themselves, because officer safety is very paramount in contemporary policing. Looking at the violence that has come in our world today, not only in our country, all over the world. Even in the United States, you see people attacking the police. In other, developing country, it happens. So it is appropriate that our leaders are calling for arming of police officers on street duties and so forth. It is very, very, very important, and I believe that to go a long way, to promote officer confidence and also make sure that they do what is right.
This happened because of what this is happening. They were hearing this announcement because of what happened yesterday. 2 police officers have been killed already. Did they have to take the death of 2 police officers for the police to realize that those who are going on duty, even if it's traffic duties, that with the sophistication of crime these days, they needed to be armed or protected at least?
Okay. Before the incident, there have been a lot of other incidents. And there have been a lot of reforms also going on in the police in terms of making sure that officers are better trained, specialized units being formed, making sure that the police stand out, to meet contemporary challenges and so forth. A lot has been done over the last decade. And with this unfortunate incident, it is appropriate that our leaders have made such a useful comment. And it will go a long way also to boost the morale and confidence level of personnel. That comes some time, they will be armed, they will be given all facilities like pepper spray, weapons, among others, to make sure that they are able to confront criminals of this nature.
When you talk about giving them, the necessary tools that they need to be effective in these times of sophisticated crime. You had the discussion I had with the now Director General of HR, Police HR, Nana Asumahene. We'll have to go to Kaswa again and cross back right now. So that's the IGP.
We also have the Interior Minister here with us, Ambrose Derry. He's here with us. Let's speak to Ambrose Derry. You've been interacting with family members. In fact, you gave a directive that henceforth police officers on traffic duties should be armed. How effective is this going to be? Do we have enough ammunition?
Yes, we're going to arm them, but there will be tactical operational arrangements about how we do it. We've got some. You might have a team of 10. Even if you cannot arm all the 10, you would arm those that you can, and then those will serve as a cover for the rest. But in this case, arming them is 0. And you went with us to the side. You saw what happened there. So certainly we are working towards getting everybody armed, and we mean it. We are doing as much as we can. So the principle now is arm them, and we'll arm them.
But there are some assertions out there, like you rightly mentioned, that the police personnel themselves have complained that if they don't feel comfortable wearing the bulletproof vest, so you can even make provision, and they may not wear them.
I've asked them to enforce that, because the same police officers go on UN missions and wear them. So it's a matter of you. I've tried it on, and I don't think it's a big deal. And we need, if you need for special training for them to wear, we do that. But they wear when they go out on the missions, and therefore they should wear. And we're going to insist they do it.
Do we have the money to do that?
Well, we've already received 4,500, even in one shipment, and we're getting more to come. Okay. So we're on it, and the president need to do.
Now, you also talked about the security situation here in Kaswa, and you're saying that your outfit, you're going to do more to augment the security men here because you think Kaswa has a peculiar, problem.
The decision has already been taken by the police council, and the status of the station has been enhanced, and so with the allocation of resources. And so all I'm doing is reiterating that we want the police to be up and doing, and I've got the assurance, and we're going to ensure they do it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you just heard from the Interior Minister. We also have here the COP Dampari. Let's speak to him and find out from him. You've been speaking to the family, and you've also been making, some donations. The welfare of the police officers.
Thank you. We'll talk later.
We'll talk later.
Yeah,
okay, so you just heard from COP Damper. He really does not want to speak much. They are all mourning, in that a lot of people here have not been able, to speak to us because they are grieving. You can see the vehicles are moving now, and all of them are moving straight to the Kaswa Police Divisional Command, where we are told that they will be having a meeting that will be going deep into the night. We are told, and it's all part of measures that they're going to take to ensure that the security situation here is restored to normalcy. But now, many of the residents we've been speaking to they tell us they are terrified by the situation here. Let me try and interact with some of them. Chief, what's your name?
Oh, my name is Prince.
Prince, tell me, how do you feel about what has happened? Many of the people I'm interacting with here are saying that they're scared.
I also feel very sad and scared, because when we had the issue, we thought it wasn't true, but later on, we found out that it was true, and we are very sad over here. So we are hoping that maybe things will get better, that they will catch those culprits so that they might be dealt with. So that's what we are expecting from the police service. So that's...
Okay, have you had a personal interaction with the deceased Mohammed Awad before? Have you met him before?
Oh, I've met him before, because we are all neighbors over here. So we have been meeting him, especially when he's going to work. So this is the interaction that I've had with him. Apart from that, I know him to be a good person. From that, I know him to be a good person. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Let's get to the residents now. Let's see if now we can have the opportunity to interact.
Maxwell Agbagba there engaging some of the residents who say they are terrified, and understandably so. Earlier on, he spoke to the acting IGP, DCOP Opomwenu, and then he also spoke to the Interior Minister. You've heard the Interior Minister explain a few things there. So, ACB, let me come back to you with what the Interior Minister has said. And you have said already that this is a welcome news for you as police officers, that those who are going on the field will be armed, they will be protected with bulletproof vests. But he's also raised the concern apparently earlier that your men don't like wearing the bulletproof because they feel it's uncomfortable.
Okay, I will say that every police officer would like to have the bulletproof. One thing is, in spite of the fact that when you put it on, the weight, and it has a metallic material, and you need, when you're going to put those things on, as an individual, you need also to be involved in some vigorous exercises to make you fit, to put it on. And most of our operational men in Accra region put this bulletproof on. And I believe that it is the best. It protects you. It gives you that confidence, and it also prepares you to be able to carry out your work in confidence, even in challenging moments and times. You are able to do it, taking into account what you've learned, from training and your experience and so forth, in terms of tactical maneuverings, in terms of approach to criminals and so forth. I believe that it is a good thing. But as the world develops, we are having other lighter ones, and we have other heavy ones. So I believe that the authorities have spoken. Who knows the type that will be given to our personnel? But I believe that the weighty metallic ones are more also safer in terms of officer safety. So it is a good news, and police will do whatever it takes, to protect themselves and protect the communities that we serve and our people. This acts will not deter us from our mandate, as the Inspector General of Police stated yesterday. And I believe that we will go all out to make sure that such criminals are brought to book. And we'll do this without fear or favor. So, we are prepared as officers, to work, even at the peril of our lives. But we'll make sure that we safeguard ourselves, we protect ourselves, so that we might save the larger community, even like the witness said
yesterday, and that's a story that stands out very tall. And we complained about our police officers, but what we saw yesterday from the girl's narration is that this police officer, even after he was shot, was still advising them to lay low because the bullets, because the gentlemen were firing, and that it could get to them. So there are still some very good policemen out there who are doing their job well. But
oh, yes.
They need to be protected.
We have good police officers out there serving their people and community. Even at the peril of his life, he advised the younger ones to take over. And he did this so that many might live. And he sacrificed, for the community and our country and the service as well. So that tells you the level of training given to personnel, that protection of citizens and our people is very paramount.
But you do admit that if he had a bulletproof vest, for example, then if the girl, from what the girl says, he was shot in the rib. So if he had a bulletproof vest, for example, the first bullets would have...
for sure.
Wouldn't have done damage.
For sure. And if he was even to be having arms, he would have had some exchange, like the operational units. I mean, those who engage in community patrols, town patrols on the highways, among others, they normally engage, with some of these criminals. And with better training on our side, we are able to overcome them. For instance, last 2 weeks at Tema, the police had, exchange, with some of these armed robbers, car snatchers, and the police were on top of affairs. So one thing is, it is a welcoming news. The police will do everything possible so that we marshal our resources strength. And in this time of trouble, I believe that advice from the Interior Minister, from the acting IGP, and the police leadership will encourage our men to build up more confidence in dealing with, crime and other challenges.
Let's talk about the policies, some of the policies you have in the system that makes make police officers who go on duty difficult. That, like I highlighted in the story that you just heard, they are senior officers are entitled to sidearms, for example, and these senior officers, they don't usually go out on the field. It's the boys or the younger ones, the junior officers who go out on the field. Shouldn't they rather be the ones we are arming rather than the senior officers who are mostly in the office?
The Interior Minister and the IGP have said it all, that all officers will be armed. And I can assure you that the commanders who also command the other junior officers also need to protect themselves. And this time around, and let me make it clear here, that the junior officers who are assigned on special patrols, like what we have, the SWAT teams, the district station patrol teams, and the counter teams, they are all armed. They go in during their duty tour to book for weapons. And on completion of their duties, it is handed over for others to use. And if you listen to what the Interior Minister said, he said even if the sidearms are provided, and that will not cover everybody, those on duty, if they are 10, 5, 6 will be armed. So that in case of an incident like this, they might come out to confront it and ward it off or deal with it completely. Okay. But let me use this opportunity also to say that the police officers are there to serve their communities and people. And that individuals should also should show greater respect to their officers. They should know that after all, they are there to protect everybody and their families and children. And I am very sad that a member of such a community should shoot and kill officers. But one thing is, we will not be deterred by this. But it is good that people show concern for their police officers. And like yesterday, what we saw, there was a complete community support, for the police. People were trying to give all kinds of pieces of information, and we salute them for this wonderful, gesture. But one thing for the criminals, it is time that we encourage crime reporting. Informants must give us leads that might nip people of this nature in the bud.
Okay, I will have you give us some tips on what to do in our society. I mean, usually you would probably not hear of such stories, but here we are dealing with them. Give us some tips, for the community as to how we can help the police to help us, which is what you were already doing. But I'll have you wrap it up for me. But let's go on Twitter and find out what people are saying about this story, and then we'll wrap up the conversation with the tips that you need to help you, help the police. What should be done to stop attacks on the police? That's the question we put on our Twitter handle. Some of you have been tweeting. Says Kwabena Oti says the police service must be well equipped and well resourced to protect them from being attacked. The citizens too must see the police as must not see the police as an enemy whenever they stop them to check them. That's a very important point you made there, Oti. Tweeting at Nkrumahism says these police officers need to handle things with due diligence when at a barrier or police checkpoint. They can frustrate you at times such that you wouldn't understand what at all they are searching on you. They need to put an end to the bribery attitude of theirs also. But it's also important that when the police stops you, you stop, because whether or not you don't like them, they're doing their job and they have the authority of the country on their side to search you. So relax, let them just do their job. This one is tweeting at AD Blair, says, you can't stop it. For you to stop it, there must be justice for all. Everyone wants to live good, yet only few carries the money back. What would happen? Justice denied is justice, injustice everywhere. I'm not quite sure the point you're making, AD Bless, but essentially we're helping the police to help us. They need to be protected so they can protect us. So let's wrap up with the tips. I mean, tell us how individuals, citizens can help the police help us.
Yes, like the account of the 13-year-old girl, for instance, is one of the finer things you can have in a case like this. It gives, some picture about what happened, and that may also encourage other citizens to emulate. One thing is, when you live in a community and you know these bad guys, quickly give information to the police for them to be picked before they become a danger to officers and the community at large. Secondly, we are also calling for crime reporting. The moment you see something wrong, you should be able to go out there, and report to the police or call our emergency line on 18555 and then 0302773906 and the 191. They are very useful. And yesterday, when you look at the help that the members of the community gave, that led to our patrolmen to track the vehicle at Aplaku. They were all on pieces of information from members of the public. And that is what we want from the Ghanaian public. We salute them for that, and we are encouraged by the fact that they are behind the police. The majority of our people are behind us. But I can assure you that the police will go all out, to get such bad guys and criminals to book. But this will not also make us unprofessional. Our judgment, our actions will be guided by law, as said by the IGP yesterday. And one thing is, when people begin to attack the police, yes, the police are human beings. Their judgment may falter along the line, but the training given will make the judgment appropriate, taking into account the use of force, proportionality of force, accountability, and necessity. So in all, in summing it up, I would advise members of the public not to attack their police, no matter the challenges that you go through during searches and other special tax operations, all being done for your common good and good of our society and country. Therefore, let's support our police, let's rally behind them and give them the might needed support to fight all manner of crimes in the country for us to enjoy a more safer communities and a safer country.
A safer community and a safer country, but security, as they always say, is a shared responsibility. One person cannot do it, neither can the entire police force if you don't help them. Information, information, information. That's what the police service is asking for from you. ACP Kwesifori, thank you so much. He's director in charge of operations for the police here in Accra there. And may the souls of the departed police officers rest in peace, and we pray for strength and comfort for their families as well.